So the issue around remote work isn't a COVID issue. It's a tectonic change that we're going through as we learn to recast how we use technology, how we create jobs, the social contract between an employer and an employee, what it means overall, how technology doesn't have borders.
So COVID-19 hits, right? You've been in the industry obviously for so long, student of the game, a leader of perhaps of the industry in a lot of ways, right? And this thing hits, and it's like you've been prepared to help people make this shift and this transition. So I don't necessarily want to talk about remote working so much as I want to focus on what have you learned in this past 18 months, and what does the entrepreneur, does the small business owner, does the large company, what's the biggest secret right now to remote working that you've learned in the last 18 months?
Well, I think first let's define a little bit about agility and remote work. Get some common ground here. IDC said in 2019 they forecasted before the pandemic that there would be 1.8 billion remote workers by the year 2020. Little did they know, right? And they define a remote worker as those individuals which work 2 days or more outside of their primary workplace on a permanent basis. So Mondays and Fridays from home, if you will. Tuesdays and Wednesdays maybe from a Starbucks or a co-working center or a business center, or maybe in partnership with a joint venture partner at their office. A minimum of 2 days a week. 1.8 billion people. That's fully almost half of our entire workforce globally. So the issue around remote work isn't a COVID issue. It's a tectonic change that we're going through as we learn to recast how we use technology, how we create jobs, the social contract between an employer and an employee, what it means overall, how technology doesn't have borders as we've had. The concept of place is where you are, not where your boss thinks you should be. All of these things evolve together to be a massive, as I say, tectonic level shift in the way we do business. And in the future, it will grow even more quickly.
Very well said. Wow, a lot there. So yeah, 1.8 billion. That's staggering to think about. 2 more days outside of the primary workplace. It's about half of the entire workplace, and it's already been going on, right? I guess the perfect storm has already been happening, and perhaps COVID just either shined a light on it or maybe accelerated certain aspects of it. What's been the one aspect you feel like COVID has actually accelerated for remote working, and how does the entrepreneur or the corporation take advantage of that?
Well, it's a balancing act, and all of everything that has to do with remote work had been going on for a number of years. And let's go back to 16, 17, 18, a time period. There was a massive battle going on for talent. How do we find the best people in the world to work for our company, for your company, for Microsoft, for Google, for every major employer worldwide? Big battle for talent. And what the HR departments found within those companies, the larger ones in particular, that they couldn't attract talent unless they had a remote or flexible workplace plan already. So everybody knew this. And, you've probably heard the old saying, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Well, every company was actually trying to come up with the perfect plan. And what COVID did was kicked everybody through the across the threshold of their own decision making. And now good was good enough. And so everybody started putting into place plans they had already thought about, but not really enacted. And so now execution became more valuable and more important than planning. And that's really what has occurred. The outcome of that will be, again, massive. I think I read a report the other day that said 41% of the people that are currently employed by, I think they're referring to the technology and the financial sector, will not come back to work. They will change their jobs. They will quit their jobs if they're forced to come back to the office 5 days a week. So we talk about the Great Recession. Now we're talking about the Great Resignation as an issue that employers have to face. JP Morgan, I think it was, just announced that for their starting analysts, they were raising their salary rates for people that came back to the office from $75,000 to $100,000 a year. That's a 25% increase in compensation to get people back to the office. And that's, again, amazing.
Amazing.
I don't think it'll work, by the way. I don't think it will work for them.
Wow.
I think they'll still end up having people outside. But
wow, Frank, so much wisdom there. By the way,